Mr. Zion.
Hi, Reno.
Hi, how are you?
Okay,
To see you.
thank you. Good to
How's
see
it?
you.
Thank you so much. How's everything in Hong Kong?
Hong Kong, everything is all right. We're under control.
That's so nice to hear. Okay, guys, so let me begin by introducing DEHRES. So, the House of DEHRES is an internationally acclaimed family enterprise renowned in the world of diamond and precious gems. The Zion family is dedicated to the art of creating finest and most magnificent jewelry, and they have worked privately with exclusive clients. And before I continue, I would like to say that my first interaction with the company was during my first ever international jewelry show, which was in the year 2018. I was absolutely new. I didn't know how to introduce myself. I didn't know how to take pictures, but I approached you, and I remember you were so kind, and in fact, you and your entire team was so kind and was so affectionate, and you all welcomed me with so much love, and I'm so happy that the entire relationship that we've shared over these 2 years has just been wonderful, and it's such an honor for me to to like do this live conversation with you. So thank you, and to the entire family, to Mrs. Zion and you and everybody.
Thank you very much, Reno. The feeling is very mutual.
So that's so kind of you. So now I would like to introduce Mr. Zion. Mr. Zion's journey began in Israel as a diamond cutter. He soon moved to New York, and after which he joined his family's diamond and precious stone business in Asia. And soon the company grew into the largest supplier of high quality diamonds throughout Asia. So that's incredible. So to
Thank
begin
you.
to begin with, first I would like to ask you your first memory with diamonds.
Well, first memory with diamonds really started when I was really a young boy of about 7, 8 years old.
Right?
Because the Israeli diamond industry has just started to develop very, very intensely, and they were looking for workers for diamond polish cutters. My elder brother was about 5, 6 years older than me,
Okay.
left to look for a job in diamond cutting, and finally found a very, very nice place. And every time he came home telling us stories about what he was cutting, what kind of section he was cutting, it was very interesting because at that time, we didn't make the entire stone.
Okay.
Every person, every worker was making one section of the stone. For example, the blocking, four
Okay.
sections diamond, and then turning the four sections into 8 pavilions and 8 corners. And then, of course, finally reaching the brilliantiering phase of putting the lower girdle facet as well as the stars. So me, as a 7, 8 years old, when I used to hear the stars,
Right.
all I could think about is the stars in the skies. How,
Lovely.
no, it was really fascinated and captivated me to such a degree that at that time I said to myself, when I grow up, when I become his age, I'm going to be a diamond cutter. No question about it.
Lovely.
So, yeah, so that's how I came into this business.
That's such an inspiring story. So I believe that the word DEHRES has, that's a short form of all the family members of the Zion family. So can you
Correct.
please that?
So let me tell you, the first DEHRES is our daughter Daniela.
Okay.
I represent Daniela. The E represents me, Ephraim, and the R represents my elder boy. Sorry, the H represents my wife Hannah.
Yeah, I can see her. I can hear her.
Sometimes confusing, the R represents my elder boy, Ronen, and the E represents my middle boy, Erez, and then of course Simon, who is
Right.
our baby boy.
Oh, how lovely. So here's a big round of applause to the entire family who works unitedly and really produces such beautiful stones and jewelry. So tell
Yeah.
us, what are fancy color diamonds and where are they sourced from?
Actually, fancy color diamonds are sourced from many, many places, from many, many mines. Take, for example, pink diamonds. They're
Right?
primarily sourced from South Africa, from Tanzania,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, the last 25 years from Argyle mine, which is now closing down.
Yes.
Sourced also from Brazil, and
Okay.
another important source is Indonesia. Blue diamonds, of course, come from the premier mine, which is now known as the Cullinan mine in
Okay.
South Africa. It's also known that blue diamonds coming from Brazil. Surprisingly, to know that they're coming from Indonesia as well. Some
Right.
from Russia, a small number, and a few from various countries in South Africa.
Oh, that's a lovely information. So tell me, what causes the color in these diamonds?
For example, in pink diamonds,
Right?
the color is formed by structural deformity. In other words, deep inside the earth, something happened, a certain process has happened and changed the entire structure of the diamond, of the atom, the atomic structure of the atom.
Okay.
So this way they're creating a distortion, and thus that's how the pink diamond is getting its color. Now, about blue diamond, of course, the main ingredient, the main mineral, the main deformity that causes the blue diamond is called boron.
Okay.
And most of the blue diamond, even gray diamonds, have a boron, a tremendous amount of boron, which also make these diamonds surprisingly electricity conductive.
Okay. Lovely.
In yellow diamonds,
Okay.
the main element that is responsible for the yellow diamonds
Right.
is nitrogen.
Okay. Would you like to show us some of your magnificent jewelry in fancy color diamonds?
Yes, by all means. Let me start one. Let me start by this beautiful, vivid pink diamond.
Okay. Can you hold a little higher, please? Lovely. Wow.
Okay,
And how many carats is this?
this is more than 5 carats. It's
Lovely.
a vivid pink VVS1.
BBS1 vivid pink. And I believe this must be very rare, right? To be sourced,
It's
the rough to manufacture.
extremely rare.
Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah. Let me show you a next one,
Yes.
which is an extraordinary piece of vivid yellow diamond,
Oh my
really
God.
extraordinary.
Lovely.
Really one of the rarest vivid yellow that I've ever seen during my 50 years of business. Because whoever sees kind of fancy, intense, rather fancy vivid yellow,
Right.
thinks that maybe it's synthetic, that it was
Okay.
treated. Actually, it was not. It came from a 24 carat size rough. We cut it about 3 years ago. And this is one of our proudest stones that we cut, and it's something exceptionally beautiful.
Wow. So tell me, how long does it take for you to polish, these kind of stones?
Oh, well, I would say something between 3, 4, up to 6 months.
Beautiful. That's so lovely.
It's a Desai one. It's
Beautiful.
a necessity, but a very, very tiny inclusion, which is hiding on the side.
Lovely. And tell me, are these stones all certified by laboratory?
All our stones are certified by GIA
Beautiful.
and also laser inscribed. Let me show you something extraordinarily beautiful and unique, which is vivid green,
Lovely.
just like a green grass color.
Right.
A little bit difficult to see it here.
Yes.
Oh, it's extremely rare because it's very, very difficult to find something like that. Usually, they have minute secondary color, like a little bit yellowish,
Okay.
sometimes
Oh, I
brown.
see.
This is a pure green color.
And how many
Just
size? What carat weight is a centerpiece?
it's more than a carat.
More than a carat. So help me understand that how many carats was the original rough, that led into this beautiful carat green color
That
diamond.
that was approximately 2.5 carat size.
2.5 carat rough. That's
We'll,
incredible.
yes,
I think I have to make a trip to Hong Kong with my family and make them buy for me these gorgeous diamonds.
you're most welcome to come. We'll looking forward to seeing you.
Yes.
Let me
Okay.
also show
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
a ring with a red diamond,
Beautiful.
which is surrounded by some fancy blue,
Okay.
50 points red, fancy red, exceptionally beautiful. And although it's small,
Right.
but the rarest color in existence. The rare of loose diamonds, which
Okay.
are both of them fancy red
Okay.
with inscription.
Okay.
All right.
And are these the matching pair for the earrings, or these are
Um, a matching pair, not necessarily for the, yeah, but for earrings, obviously.
right?
To find a nice, beautiful 1.5 to 2 carat size red, and we are still looking for it.
These are treasures.
This is really treasures of nature
Yeah, treasures of nature and crafted by DEHRES with so much of love and craftsmanship.
and devotion,
Yes, and passion also.
obviously with a lot of passion.
Yes. Okay. So now, since you showed us all these beautiful stones, I would like to know that are they polished differently from a white diamond?
Yes, certainly they are polished differently because in white diamonds,
Okay.
you try to bring up the whitest color possible. So
Right.
what we do is, and usually we cut white diamonds, let's say in rounds or fancy, especially rounds, we cut it under approximately at 41 degrees angle. And
Okay.
this is the most ideal angle to bring out the widest color that is possible. However, in fancy color diamonds, you cannot do that because we're trying to concentrate the color more. We're trying to intensify the color. And one of the ways to do that is really to flatten the angles of the bottom of the pavilion from
Okay.
40 to between 34 to 35 degrees.
Oh,
And
I see.
that's the difference in fancy colors. Otherwise, if you cut the fancy colors the same way as you
Right.
cut the diamond, you
Right.
probably 2 or 3 shades.
It's like the cut also plays a very important role.
Yes, cut it in shape, right?
Yes. Yes.
Obviously, um, when the color is not so strong, depending on the rough, okay? If the rough justifies to cut it into a radiant, we cut it into radiant because radiant actually captures the most color from the bottom angles.
Oh, I
And
see.
yes, indeed, because we prefer to cut it into radiant. You can also cut the same rough into emerald cut, but I can tell you that it would be one color lower than the radiant cut.
Oh, I
And
understand.
that is why emerald cut diamond in vivid blue or vivid pink or intense blue, intense pink
Right.
actually commands a higher price than a radiant cut. But still, radiant cut is one of the most liked and admired by people. And it could be worn by men, by women, and so on and so forth. So that's why it's so popular. Obviously, sometimes when you cut a pear shape or a marquise or
Right.
oval, you have to be very, very careful how to cut and how to coordinate all the facets and all the angles in order to produce the best possible result. Because sometimes if you don't do it right, you
Right.
see a butterfly effect right on top of the stone. And you really have to be extremely knowledgeable and with a tremendous amount of expertise
Right.
to really get rid of the bow tie effect. So the color throughout the pear shape or oval is more even and without any holes or any empty areas.
Tell me, I have not seen many of fancy color diamond cut in a round cut. So is there a reason again?
There is a good reason for that, because the round cut affects so much light.
Okay.
Loses the color. The color is washed out.
Okay.
And this is the main reason.
I believe that a slightest change in the color can really affect the entire value of a diamond.
Oh, enormously. Like if you start with light pink, for example, from light to very light pink to rather very light pink to fancy light pink, and then to fancy pink, fancy intense, and fancy vivid. Every darga, every step which is higher is more than double. So you may have a fancy pink of 3 carat size at, let's say, at $1 million, just give it a figure. Fancy intense pink would be about $2.5 million. So there is a tremendous between the two.
Amazing. So here we are talking about $1 million of prices with a fancy color diamond.
Yeah, by the same token, I could talk about 1 carat size and let you know that 1 carat size fancy pink would be approximately $150,000, but fancy intense pink would be probably $350,000, $375,000. Let me show you one of our beautiful pair of earrings.
Okay.
Also fancy intense pink, 3 carats each.
Beautiful.
They are exactly the same pair, same size, same proportion, same scintillation, and the same brilliance. Actually, there is a small halo style small diamond surrounding the pear-shaped diamond, and then it is surrounded by white diamonds, fancies like pear-shaped and marquise. We had to wait for a long time. I can tell you, sometimes we wait for a year or two to get a similar stone and to make it into a pair. And that, of course, requires cutting and matching and so on and so forth, making sure it's the same tone of color, the same hue, and the same intensity.
Yeah, it's really lovely to understand how the color changes the entire value of a fancy color diamond. A change in the color.
That's why you have so many levels of colors.
Yes, I can see that there's so many levels. So tell me that does a fluorescence also affect the color in a fancy color diamond?
Not so much as far as fancy color diamond. They might have some adverse effect on white diamonds, especially due to age.
Right.
Not that much, but there's a lot of misconception, a lot of misunderstanding about fluorescence. I don't think that fluorescence is such a big liability. I don't think it's a negative trait at all.
Okay.
The only time when fluorescence becomes negative and when it imparts the stone a hazy appearance. When and that's what happens. Sometimes the fluorescence is so strong that if you take it by the window, you see a little bit of kind of a cloudy appearance, and that's not so good. But this is in very, very rare occasions. And this is the reason why fluorescence in white diamonds got a very, very bad rap, and you can buy them between 10 to 15% or 20% cheaper than non-fluorescent diamond. However, when it comes to fancy color diamonds, there's no difference, especially when you speak about pink diamonds, blue diamonds, and green. There's absolutely no, and also orange. There's absolutely no effect, no adverse effect at all.
Do you have any orange diamond to show us by any chance?
We have one orange, 1 carat size. I didn't even bother to bring it out. I didn't think that, although I want you to know that it's one of the rarest colors nowadays, but it didn't come to mind. So you'll see it in reality.
besides red color diamond, pink color diamond, green color diamond, orange color diamond, these all are amongst like the rarest of the rarest colors.
Yes, but I have to tell you something. A lot of people don't know it, but a lot of connoisseurs and experts think that purple diamond is
Okay.
the rarest of them all.
Okay.
But how many purple diamond can you find? Hardly, maybe 2 or 3 in 5 years.
Do you have any purple diamond? Now I want to see purple diamond, orange diamond from you. Maybe
Next time, if I'm lucky enough to get one, let me show you one more pair of earrings of yellows that I think is worthwhile seeing, both
beautiful.
because of the designs and the matching of the pair.
Right. Wow, what size of ovals are those?
These 11 carat size each.
1 second. These are 11 carat size each of oval shape. Oh my God.
Yes.
Clarity are those?
These are, I would say, VS1 and VS2.
And how long did it take for you to source both these stones?
That also was a long wait, relatively long. Less than the pink. We had to wait for about 6 to 8 months to find one which is similar to the other one, and then we had to recut it. We mashed it very well, and then we put it into jewelry.
So these are 11 carats each. So it's a pair of 22 carats of fancy color.
Correct.
Yellow.
About 20 something. Yes.
Imagining myself wearing these gorgeous diamond earrings of yours.
Well, that's a very good attitude. I like your. I like your.
Thank you.
Would you like me to show you a necklace or bracelet?
Of course, of course.
Let's start with the bracelet, which contains intense and vivid pinks.
Intense
and vivid pinks.
Okay, so they contain 2 different shades of pink color diamonds.
Right, but they're very similar, obviously.
Very nice. I can go on admiring them.
Okay.
Sure the people can go on.
It would be better to own them.
Of course.
Enjoy them.
Yes.
Let me show you more. A straight row, radiant cut diamond fancy yellow.
And same shade? All are radiant fancy shape. What shape?
Fancy shape, yes.
Beautiful. And I see that they are graduating.
They are graduated, correct?
That this also must have taken a long number of years or months for you to gather all of them.
That takes quite, depending. If you buy a lot of rough,
right.
One parcel of rough that contains all these pieces, then
right.
you can finish within less than a year, maybe 7, 8 months, 9 months. And sometimes if you collect them, it could take you up to 2 years to get this done.
Nice. So tell me that are fancy color diamonds a good investment, especially now that since the market has been so volatile and nobody knows what the future of the market's going to be. So what would be your expertise on that?
Reno, I think there couldn't be a better time to invest in fancy color diamonds than now.
Perfect.
And you know why?
Yes, please tell us.
Look around you, see what's happening. Look at the economic collapse and the political instability, the economic turmoil, and the financial institutions which are really in deep trouble.
Right.
All around you, you see collapsing share prices.
Right.
Bond prices have collapsed. People have lost billions and trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars have been evaporated from their portfolios, whether private equity firms, big investment firms, and so on and so forth. Then you have the collapse of the oil prices. Oil was $55, $60 for a while, and then suddenly dropped to about 10, 15, and then to zero. And now, although it retraced some of its losses, it's now at about $32. But who knows? Who can guarantee it's going to stay that way? And then, of course, you have what we consider a very important ingredient, a very important element, is the zero interest rates environment. I
Right.
mean, who is in his right mind will take money and put it in bank and get
Right.
zero interest rates, and not only that, take the risk that maybe the bank will not pay.
Right.
So you have many good reasons to consider fancy color diamonds,
Right.
because it's not only that fancy color diamonds can provide you the safety, can
Right.
ensure safety, your financial security. They're both not only as an investment, but also for other reasons as well. You know, I don't know of any other tangible asset
Right.
that holds much value in such a small packet. You can
Oh,
practically walk around with millions of dollars in your pocket without even seeing a bulk. You know, so this is a great advantage, and not only that, diamond is one of the, besides the emotional and the sentimental value
of
of a
course.
diamond,
Of course.
you, you have the other physical advantages of being a portable asset that
Right.
actually you can take it from place to place with especially in times of trouble, especially in economic turmoil. And we
Right.
have seen many cases in the past 50 years in my place in Hong Kong. I can tell you there were a few cases when people really they were saved by the diamonds that they bought
Fair enough.
many earlier.
Right. Right.
Basically, so you could look at it as a passage of wealth from
Absolutely.
one generation into the other.
Right.
And this prove itself through history. You know, historical data show it very clearly how valuable, how life savings diamonds have made people.
Right. Right.
So now the only thing that really the only tangible asset that could come close to it is gold. But gold is there's no emotional value there at all. It's
Absolutely.
very volatile. It fluctuates all the time. You know,
Absolutely.
times when gold was at $35 when I came to Hong Kong in 1971, and it jumped all the way to $850 by 1980. Now
Right.
look
Right.
at that. 1980 to 2006, gold from 850 was between 225, 230, all the way to 300, 350. So for 26 years, gold did not yield anything.
Right.
And you just kept it and waited and waited and waited, and people were waiting for it to go up, and it never did. Only towards 2007, 2008, gold started to go up slowly. It reached 1,700, 800, 1,002, 1,003, and stayed there for a few years until recently, until the end of last year, when gold started to go up between 1,001, 1,002. Now it's 1,007. But who can guarantee it's going to stay that way? It may
Right.
even go to 2,000 or 2,500. But can I
Right.
guarantee you a time when this speculative bubble bursts, gold will go back to maybe 1,002, 1,005 and stay there. So that's why I'm not in favor of gold. I've never been in favor of gold. I don't think it's a good investment. And if you give me a choice between that and fancy diamonds, to me, it's
We want
very choice.
diamonds. Diamonds are always a very good idea.
Yes. And, there's many advantages. You don't need a lawyer for diamonds. You
Fair
don't
enough.
need paperwork for diamonds. They are not registered in any place.
Right.
Not the promissory notes of IOU.
Right.
Not registered anywhere. So
Right.
it's a great advantage. And the best and the most beautiful thing about it is that it's in your possession.
It's in our possession. Absolutely.
Derive pleasure from it. You can have it. You can have it set into a beautiful ring or earrings, and you can enjoy it every day or whenever you feel like it.
Right.
It's anything else that can give you such a joy and pleasure? I'm not familiar with anything else.
You've actually spoken your heart out about why should one invest in diamonds. That's so beautiful.
Thank you, especially now.
Yeah,
Especially
especially, absolutely.
with all the mess and the financial turmoil that is going on in the world.
Right. So tell me that you've spoken about that it's a very good opportunity to invest in fancy color diamond now. So what factors should be considered when one needs to purchase a fancy color diamond?
Well, if a person is interested to buy a diamond, first of all, he has to do research. He has to know what he wants. He has to
Okay.
plan to decide how much he wants to spend, how much he wants to invest, rather, and also decide for how long he wants to invest. Because if you want to buy fancy color diamond today and sell it after 6 months to a year and make a 10 to 20%, it doesn't work like that. This is not stocks or bonds or anything like that. So you have to look at diamonds from a long-term point of view. Anybody who wants to buy fancy color diamond has to think at least from a medium to a long-term point of view. And
Okay.
then you will benefits of holding precious, this magical product.
Absolutely. So tell me that are there any color enhancement treatment also, which one has to be careful about?
Yeah, of course. You have today, since a few decades ago, you have two main synthetic diamond producers, two methods. One is by HPHT,
Okay.
high temperature,
Right.
and you have CVD, chemical vapor deposition.
Right.
Both these companies grow diamonds in the laboratory,
Okay.
and one of which HPHDs also can take a diamond, which is, let's say, brown color, yellowish brown, type 2A, and
Okay.
turn it to a white or even a pink diamond. So by changing the atomic structure, the inside the diamond.
Companies who actually enhance the color of a diamond, do they sell them as natural, or do they get them certified and the certificate mentions that they are chemically enhanced diamonds?
Let me tell you, depending on the companies that sell it. For example, De Beers has started to sell the light box collection of theirs. They don't even certify them. You can buy a nice, beautiful diamond for $800 a carat. They don't feel that this justifies, certifying them, and they put it into jewelry, maybe a pair of earrings, a nice ring, and put it into bracelets, and they sell it as fun jewelry, as fashion jewelry that people can enjoy. And it sells to a completely different price range than natural diamonds.
Absolutely. I'm just reading. There are so many compliments. Those are coming your way. That Mr. Zion is one of the most knowledgeable in this field. He's always very inspiring. So you have a lot of people complimenting you, and people who are really inspired by your entire legacy.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so now tell me that what you think that the market is going to be post-COVID.
Look, we are witnessing a situation that we have never been before.
Right.
This is unprecedented. Actually, the coronavirus has actually paralyzed our business, caused a meltdown, and you can see the effects everywhere. I mean, you look at the hospitality business, you look at the airlines, and you look at the restaurants, and not a pretty picture at all. And I think people have to realize that it will take time to heal and to recover. I don't have any crystal ball to tell you exactly when it will be. What I can tell you is, when I look at the United States, things there are going to be, at least, although they are opening up for business, but until the end of summer, there's not going to be any much of a change. So could be some improvement towards the second half of the year, But I
Okay.
can tell you that here in Hong Kong, it's going to be a little bit better in Hong Kong and the Far East in general,
Okay.
because we started to deal with the virus much earlier. We did it
Right.
efficiently, did it intelligently, and we are in a much better position than the rest of Europe and America.
Absolutely. So, since you mentioned that things may get a little better second half of the year, so what are your expectations towards the September Hong Kong show? First of all, you think that the show will be scheduled as planned?
Um, Look, it all depends whether the European and Americans will allow the
Okay.
airline to fly. And it
Right.
depends on the airline themselves, because a lot of airlines are doing soul searching at the moment, because they
Right.
know that people are not traveling. A lot of
Right.
people are preferring to stay home.
Right.
It depends on the circumstances. If there is a tremendous improvement by then
Right.
we pretty good chance that the show will go on. Okay,
Okay.
but if the improvement is slight, I don't think that it's going to be good for the show, and there
Right.
is a possibility even that the show will not be will be canceled. I
Right.
hope not.
I
Hope
hope not.
not, because too
Not
long.
too.
If you, I just heard that, for example, two shows, the JA in New York has been canceled for July, and
Right.
another show has been canceled in June or August. So things don't look so good in the States. So we
Right.
have to wait.
We have to
Uh,
wait.
yeah, I think 2020 is a very difficult year. We
Yes.
have to really exhibit a lot of strength. We have to
Right.
exhibit patience, which is
Mm-hmm.
very important in times of epidemics and pandemics. We'll have to be strong
Absolutely.
and persevere. There's no other way. But eventually, this shall pass too.
This shall pass through. So we have precisely 10 minutes. So do you want to show any more jewelry to all of us?
Yes, if we have, for example, another necklace that I wish to show you.
Lovely.
It's a straight line necklace,
Beautiful.
suspended was beautiful, fancy pink, pear-shaped diamond
Beautiful.
containing 15 carats,
15
fancy,
carats.
yeah,
Wow.
VV1.
And do you have any blue color diamond or some other color diamond that you can show us?
I should have asked me before. I have one here that I brought.
Sure.
That's a fancy vivid blue.
Okay.
Okay, let me show it to you.
Yes. Yeah, we can see the blue, right?
Right. I don't think you see it very well in here, but actually the color is much stronger, much deeper, much
So,
saturated red. But
right. So,
it's
is there a line in your mind that you already have that you will put this beautiful stone into?
not at the moment, because I'm waiting for a few more, because what we're trying to do with that is really match it up with something else. And to
You,
find something similar is,
I'm,
it's a tall order.
I'm sure that you have something really creative there in your mind to execute for this particular stone.
Yeah, I mean, we can also, of course, we considered mounting it into a nice, beautiful ring
Right.
surrounded by fancy shaped diamonds, but we decided to wait. So what's the hurry?
What's that?
Anyway,
Yeah.
factories are closed, not working in full capacity. So we decided to wait.
Yeah, might as well. And tell me that would you like to share some advice for the young entrepreneurs and for people who are just making their entry in the diamond industry, or some words of encouragement for all of us?
I think that this business, of course, is not for the faint of heart, that I have to tell you, especially in these economic circumstances. What I can tell you is that I think one should follow an advice which I got from my father,
Yes.
that that I always try to practice
Right.
and to apply, to implement, and that is to learn something every day.
Okay.
Every day learn something new, because as you increase your knowledge, you
Right.
increase your, you increase your power. When you have power and strength, you increase your confidence.
Lovely.
When your confidence is very, very strong, you can deal with people and you can deal with any situation in a much better way. And that's
So,
why confident people do much better than insecure people. And
absolutely.
that comes from knowledge. Knowledge is very, very important. One
Right.
of the other things that my father taught me was to keep a good name. He always
Right.
used to tell that a good name is more important than a good oil.
Right.
Oil at that time used to be considered very, very important um, consumer product, because they
Okay.
used to they used to pour oil on top of kings in order to make them kings. There is, I forgot the expression, but keep a good reputation, because good reputation is more important than gold, more important than oil. Because God forbid something happens to you, you
Right.
know, there will always be possibilities that other people will help you.
Right.
And that's very, very proved to be very, very true in many, many cases that I personally know of many
Right.
people who had good reputation.
Okay.
They had a setback or two, and they eventually came up again and rehabilitated themselves and became well. Um, and I think that another thing that I would advise young people, um, to never give up,
Never
to
give
be
up. Yes.
to believe in themselves,
Yes.
to do the very best they can, to do the
Yes.
best in order to be the best they can.
Lovely.
So if they follow these, I can tell you they will face a tremendous success.
Absolutely. I'm going to rehear all your words of advice. I'm going to make a note of it. I'm going to imbibe each and every word that you've shared with us, because these are great words of wisdom coming from you, with so much of experience that you've had, first of all. So
Be
when
my
you talk, so lastly, when you spoke about knowledge, so is there any book that you would like us to like read or to, get insight from?
Oh, there's many. How could I? There's so many
That's the
of
one.
them. Uh, I don't know which one. Um, I think one of the most fundamental books and one of the most important books that had a tremendous influence on me anyway is
Right?
a book that I was 12 to 13 years old. Two books, actually.
Okay.
Um, How to Gain Friends and Influence in Society
Okay.
by, who was writing it, Dale Carnegie.
Okay.
That's 13 years old when I was working for my uncle. And the next book, when I got into business, a few
Right.
years later, I got called Think and Grow Rich
Think
by
and grow.
Nicole.
Right.
Uh, don't think that this is just teach you that the book teaches you how to become rich. This is not the point. The book
Right.
tells you
How to think.
strategies and a lot of ideas, how to implement them, and
Right.
how to persuade people,
Right.
and how to lead a life of meaning with
Right.
goals, and how to
Right.
achieve your goals in the best possible way.
Right.
So the name might be a little bit misleading, but
Okay.
it's one of the best books ever written on this subject of personal growth and development.
Right. Because eventually it's just the power of your mind. Once you are powerful from here, once you've decided to be victorious.
What he's talking about.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what he in his many chapters. It's an amazing book that every businessman, every person that wants to succeed in life or even in personal life should
Right.
read that book.
Okay, so I have gotten a request asking for the names of the book. So I'm going to connect with Mrs. Zion after our chat, and I'm going to ask her to share the names of the book, and I'm going to post it on my stories.
Yes, by all means, my pleasure. I have a few others. I will give you 3 or 4 of them.
Sure,
And
lovely.
yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So, Zion, thank you so much for all your time. It was really lovely, and I would like to extend my heartiest gratitude to Mrs. Zion also. She has really
Thank
been very and very supportive, to like help me put this entire life conversation together.
she's
And I'm
she.
looking forward to seeing you in the September.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you again for showing us all your jewelry. They were real treats to all of us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Take care.
Yes,
Stay well. Have a good health. A lot
yes,
of strength. All the
yes.
best.
Thank you so much. Bye, Mrs. Zion.
Bye.
Bye.